My name is Rebecca Barker, and I am an artist. I paint abstract paintings. My family were craftsmen. They made Christmas tree ornaments. So I grew up with paint and art all over the house. I also went to art shows from very early age, so I knew what an artist does. And it was the only thing I excelled in art, in school. My mom painted the Christmas tree ornaments from when I was a baby, and it was something that just kind of took off. We had a dairy farm just north of Oxford. It was a family farm, and they had open houses to sell the ornaments, and they became very well known for their ornaments. Many people have the Barker ornaments, and especially in the tri-state area here. I just grew up in that sort of atmosphere. I had the art supplies and my mother and father pushing me to be an artist, which is unusual. They never said you can't make a living as an artist, but I knew you could because I've seen many of their friends and them make a living that way too. So I pursued it full force. I grew up on a farm, so I loved animals and nature. My mother was a collector of antique quilts, and she did a little bit of quilting in her spare time, but I loved quilts. So when I was doing the landscapes, I would put quilts inside the landscapes. All quilt patterns have old-fashioned names, and the quilters know these names. My favorite is probably called Delectable Mountains. That is the Delectable Mountain quilt pattern. There's one called Grandmother's Flower Garden, which is very traditional. And I did that for 25 years, full-time business. Eventually, I did a lot of licensing with that, and it took off nationally. I also started doing the big quilt shows that were all over the country, so a lot of traveling. But I also had a lot of mass-produced stuff, like calendars and puzzles, and my own line of note cards and greeting cards. You pretty much name it, I had images on things. I don't do the puzzles, they drive me crazy. But yeah, it's really an honor, of course. They're very different than what I'm doing now because they're realism and there's no abstract to it at all. It's kind of weird how I totally switched my style. It got to the point where I wasn't doing new things, and my creativity I felt was not flowing. I always liked abstracts, and I said, I'm going to try doing some abstracts, just, see what happens. At first, I thought this is going to be easy, but it was not. Abstracts are actually quite hard to do. They have the same elements as the regular art, but it's different. You have to leave some of the elements out. So after a couple years of practicing with the abstracts, I feel I've developed my own style. I work in acrylic paints, and they're on boards. After priming it, I usually start out by putting a layer of gold or colored foils because I like shiny. Once I've got that down, I'll put a layer of epoxy so it seals everything, and then it also makes it smooth again for me to go ahead and paint over it. Then I'll come in with all kinds of things like metallic colored tapes and also glitter. Along with the acrylic paints and the tapes, I finish them off unless there's going to be a realism part added, like birds or trees or nature. Sometimes I do moons or suns. After everything's down, I'll put in another 1 or 2 layers of the epoxy, which is the mixing of the 2 resins. I pour them and stir, and then apply them with a gloved hand and smooth it all out, and it dries flat. The main reason I use the epoxy is, one, it looks kind of cool. It looks like they're under glass, and it magnifies the paint just a tiny, tiny bit. And also, since I'm using tapes and all kinds of materials, collage, you might call it, it seals it, so it won't come off someday. I think the style is definitely me. I feel very happy most of the time, and I try to show that in my paintings with the bright colors and the shiny, and also my love of nature. I get a lot of inspiration by looking at aerial views of landscapes. That's where the rivers pictures come in, or map pictures. My Cincinnati picture, for example, is probably my most popular painting. I used to paint in the patterns of the fabric in my quilt paintings, so people would actually think I glued fabric on my work, but I did not. Occasionally, I'll do paintings that repeat that sort of pattern in parts of the painting. I never start out knowing what a picture's going to look like, especially just the pure abstracts. They just sort of evolve as I go. If I hadn't just run out of ideas with the quilt paintings, I think I would have stayed with them. And it's what I was known for doing, and I enjoyed the quilters very much. It was kind of a good thing. I myself and other artists I've noticed get kind of stuck, and they think, oh, this is what sells, or this is what I've done for so long, so I'm going to keep doing this. I really encourage artists to try new things because I have done that myself. I have tried this new style that I'm working with, and it's just so much more creative than it was if you just stick with the same thing all the time. And I'm glad I had the courage to try something new.